What's up, everyone? Welcome to Level 7. It is time for another episode of the Agents of Fandom podcast, where we have reverence for the past and we have hope for the future. I'm your host, TJ Zwarych. Daredevil is finally here. Daredevil Born Again premiering on Disney Plus 7 years after the first cancellation of season 3. We are here. We are back. Joining me is my co-host, good friend, Damon Gray. How you doing, Damon?
Good evening. Oh, man, we've been waiting a long time. A long time for this. And it was great.
And a special warm welcome because we got somebody joining us who's been here a lot, but not for a while. And so it's good to have her back. Emma Dorris, welcome. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me back. It's been so long, and I figured this was the perfect time to rejoin. So I am so excited to be here.
Very excited to have you. And making her debut on the Agents of Fandom podcast, we got to meet at New York Comic Con, and I thought, wow, this is just a phenomenal person. And then as soon as I saw her tweet about wanting to talk some Daredevil, realized this was the perfect time to make it happen. Gillian Blum from Blum or Bloom, you're gonna have to correct me on that. From TheDirect, welcome.
Hi, I'm so happy to be here, and I'm glad that this is what I'm talking about for my first time here.
Couldn't agree more. I am so excited to dive into this with all of you. We usually have, a quick edition of What You Watching, where we talk about what we're all watching in our own time and things like that. But honestly, today, with Daredevil on the horizon, 2 full episodes, I think we just got to dive right into it. The one thing I'll say about What You Watching is you got to be watching Paradise, also on Disney Plus. Season finale just came out. A wonderful season of television. They're already almost filming season 2 here in a couple weeks. So check out Paradise because that is an incredible TV show. Plus, if you're watching Invincible, if you're watching Severance, oh, do we have a show for you. Every Thursday at 3 p.m. Eastern, we will be live talking Invincible, myself, Fat Thor, Sean from Metalcore Nerds. We also have our Severance show, myself and Rachel Leishman, every Friday at 5 p.m. Eastern. This week, since Rachel's at South by Southwest, it'll be at a different time. It'll be at 3 p.m. Eastern time this Friday, talking Severance. And then Damon will be back for the Comment Corner on Saturday as well. So we got lots of stuff coming. Tuesday, Daredevil. Thursday, Invincible. Friday, Severance. Saturday, Comic Corner. Make sure you smash the like button, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on any of the shows we have coming. Daredevil. We are here. The first thing I want to ask all three of you before we even dive into spoiler territory is just spoiler free. Did the Daredevil premiere meet your expectations? Because I feel like this is not a show where we went into it thinking like, oh, I'm going to be cautious. I'm going to see where it goes. Like, I don't have high hopes, but I'm hoping for the best. No, we went into this all sky high, like, it's back. Daredevil is here. So expectations were sky high. Damon, I will start with you. Did Daredevil Born Again episode 1 and 2 meet your expectations? Let us know your thoughts in the chat. Welcome to the live chat on YouTube. Thanks so much, everyone, for joining us. Let us know your thoughts.
My expectations were met exactly at where I set them. And it's a pretty good bar to be at for this show, particularly because, as I said, I was very excited for this show. I had very high expectations for this show. I think we all did. I think we all did, like you just said. And it's great seeing the gang back. The second you hear the theme, slightly tweaked, but still there. And more importantly, I put this out on a social post. My hope with this show was that no matter what story, no matter what direction they go in, if I go and I sit down, I'm like, I'm about to watch Daredevil, I hope it feels like season 4. And gosh darn it, it feels like season 4. They nailed the vibe. They nailed, in my opinion, the action sequences, but most importantly, the tone. They nailed the tone down to exactly what the original show was, but at the same time, This is its own thing. This is very clearly its own thing. And it feels like I'm picking up a new run of Daredevil from a run that I loved, and I'm going into a new run with a different writer. But it feels like a continuation. It's not forgetting anything in the past. It definitely creates a path for the story they want to tell, but they absolutely acknowledged what came beforehand and how we got to this point. So overall, yeah, my expectations were met exactly, and I'm very happy for it.
Couldn't agree more with the tone aspect that you brought up, because when I spoke to showrunner Dario Scardipan, which you can find the full interview up on the Agents Fandom YouTube page, I asked him, like, what is this? I believe this was your question, actually, Damon, when I asked him, what to you does it mean to do like a proper Daredevil story?
How do you
Like,
do it right?
what are
What
the
is
key
right?
components you need for this story? And he actually quoted Foggy Nelson. He said, reverence for the past and hope for the future. They want to make sure this is a continuation of the show everyone loves, but at the same time, make it new, make it fresh. And I really feel like they've succeeded with that. Emma, did the first 2 episodes of Daredevil meet your expectations? You are the Daredevil fan. This is your guy. Not only is Daredevil your guy, Charlie Cox, that's your love.
Absolutely. Yes, they very much met my expectations, probably exceeded them. I don't even know where my expectations were. I just knew that I knew I was going to love it. I knew they were high, but absolutely, like, I felt like we're back in this world, like, exciting twists and turns, setting things up for the future. My therapist will be hearing about this, but I I like where this is going. I also loved that the first episode was an hour and the second one was 50 minutes. I feel like those are the longest Marvel TV episodes we've gotten so far. And I'm so happy that it's Daredevil. Like, I feel like the atmosphere is there, the hype is there. Like, I just feel like they clearly put a lot of care into this already. And I'm just so excited. Like, I just love being back in this world. I am so happy with it.
I got a shout out to like everyone, really. Our whole YouTube chat is going crazy right now. I'm loving the dialogue happening in there. But I want to highlight MTF, Michael Terrell Ford, who actually will be our guest next week for Daredevil Born Again episode 3, along with our friend Noah Reed Reads from A Bite of TV and Movie podcast. And so MTF said the new theme is haunting, and we may or may not have an interview on the way coming on route with the composers of said theme, the Newton brothers. So stay tuned. We got some really fun stuff coming. Maybe even on a live show. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. See how scheduling turns out. Gillian, what were your thoughts? Did this premiere, first 2 episodes, meet, exceed, or fall short of your expectations?
So I love Daredevil a lot, like a lot. I'm the Spider-Man girl in every way, and this was the closest I've ever gotten to the hype I had for No Way Home, which, like, I deleted TikTok because of the hype for No Way Home. That was a journey in my life. And so the fact that this even got close tells you just how high my expectations were, and they were surpassed, which is wild to me because I didn't think that was possible. Granted, I didn't think that was possible. And then I saw the Comic-Con trailer. I didn't think that was possible. And then I saw the first public trailer. I didn't think that was possible. Then I saw the first 2 episodes. So I think this is going to keep happening. But, like, it keeps surprising me. And, like, I've studied Daredevil. I've studied this fandom. Know this stuff inside and out. I have on my person right now 3 Daredevil Funko Pops. Like, I have multiple Daredevil water bottle stickers on various things right here.
But to confirm, you are not Daredevil.
Yes, that is also true. Charlie Cox approved this shirt, so I hold on to that forever. I just, there's so much that I had a list of things that I wanted them to hit. And, like, the fact that, like, 5 of them happened in the first 2 episodes, whoa.
Couldn't agree more. I truly think this is the best premiere of Marvel television that we have gotten so far. Of all the shows,
Yeah.
I think this is the best first 2 episodes. You know, I won't say necessarily best first episode because I'd have to think back, compare, and I very much do kind of consider this both to be together. I think this was my favorite Marvel premiere of any of them so far. WandaVision was, I kind of thought it just got better and better as the season went on for me. Most of them, like a Falcon and the Winter Soldier, although I love the series, the first episode is a dud. It takes it's not until episode 2 where Sam and Bucky share the screen together. And as soon as they share the screen together, it's magic. It's incredible. But it is a bit of a slow start. And so this to me was the best one I think we have gotten so far. The one qualm I think I've seen a lot of people have, and it didn't bother me or take anything away from it for me personally, but I've seen a lot of people with the qualm, and it is something I definitely noticed, and I am not someone who really ever notices this, is the CGI fight at the beginning between Matt and Bullseye is a little buggy, but I still, Damon, you and I talked about this a little bit before the show. We are fans of flippy Daredevil and swinging around the city Daredevil.
We got a grappling hook.
It might might take them a little while to fine tune how his look will be. You know, it's not like there's thousands of models rendered of like there is Spider-Man swinging through a city. You can fire in there. And so I do understand might take a little bit to get going to it. I thought it was a little dark, a little smoky as the opening big we're back fight sequence. But other than that, I truly felt like we were back throughout this whole entire thing. I want to talk about the opening sequence, pre-fight sequence, pre the devastating thing that tore all of us down. And we will go into full spoilers here, but we won't talk about our old boy Foggy until a little bit. I want to talk about the opening sequence where all is well. All is well. We're happy.
We even get 15 minutes.
Wilson,
I
Murdock,
timed it.
Page.
I timed it. They didn't have 15 minutes.
Before the opening credits, even. Before the opening credits.
Less than 15 minutes of happiness.
Yeah. I knew
even if you add the last scene of season 3, I think it's still less than 15 minutes.
I think you're right.
And they were a great 15 minutes. It was like it felt a little bit like when in hindsight, watching it for a second time, it felt a little bit like when I watch Invincible, where anytime there's a good moment of peace, I'm like, I know this isn't gonna last long. It's all going to hell. But I got to enjoy it while it lasts.
Yeah.
I guessed months ago that this was happening. I've been part of all of those conversations. Yet I spent the entire first 15 minutes going, things are too good. Things are too good. Are they going to do it this early? I thought we had an episode to like establish things, but fully knowing it was, I have never been more emotionally wrecked for something I knew was going to happen than I was tonight.
And Pierre, your colleague from the Direct, brings up a great point. It's insane to think they were supposedly going to kill Foggy off screen.
I'm glad it was at least on screen.
And that's why a lot of us suspected this could be coming, is because of that initial report that Foggy was going to die off screen. And I know later this evening, our friends over at Phase Hero are going to have a chat with Brad Winderbaum, head of Marvel TV, and I'm sure they're going to ask, like, why? Why, bro? Why? And so after you're done here, make sure to check that out as well.
I've had multiple people ask me that question. They're like, I've heard about the original version. Why would anyone greenlight that?
Yeah,
and it's smart, you know, that they've revamped this whole thing. But Damon, I'll throw it to you. What pre-Heartbreak, how did it feel having all of these characters back? Was the vibe right? Whatever happened to oh wow, how am I blanking on her name right now? Foggy's girlfriend. What happened to her? Where is she gone?
Hey man,
I have a same Brett Mahoney.
Mahoney was Brett.
Because I like the new like Commissioner Gordon type character, but that should be Brett, no?
Yeah, that is true.
Time passes, and when you're dealing with especially a Matt Murdock type character who goes through someone like every 3 months minimum,
so true.
You know, I feel like that may have rubbed off on Foggy a little bit, but I don't know. It was
How
good.
many
It
times
was
has
good going back to
GMRC broken up?
Josie's. It was good going back to Josie's, seeing the bar keep, and you're just like, you knew instantly something bad was gonna happen. It was too good.
Oh, yeah.
No Daredevil story ever lasts good for more than 10 minutes. Ever.
No, it's so true. And there's a very interesting I lost my train of thought, Sam. I'm just going to throw it to you. I completely forgot where I was going with that. Pre-heartbreak, how did it feel to have the gang back together?
I am not gonna lie, I almost teared up seeing them all together because it's just like seeing the Nelson Murdock, but I also was like doing the Leo pointing meme because we saw those set photos everywhere, and I was just like, oh, it's finally the set photos. But it was just so like, it just warmed my heart seeing them all together again. I knew something bad was gonna happen because I'm like, Matt is never happy for very long. It can't be that way, unfortunately. Such is the way of the universe for Matt Murdock. So I knew something was about to happen, but it was just so nice seeing them all together for just a little bit.
I knew something bad was gonna happen the only set photo we saw of them was the very first shot of the show, and I was like,
yeah,
yep,
exactly.
Well, surprise, Brad Winterbaum confirms that Deborah Ann Wool's Karen Page and Eldon
I thought it was
Henson's
both.
Foggy Nelson will return in Daredevil Born Again Season 2. Shout out to the amazing Ryan Cortero, Ryan Reflects, for getting that report out there, dual streaming at the same time so he doesn't miss out on any of the news. This begs the question.
I have thoughts.
In the 2 comic books where Foggy has quote-unquote died, one was resurrected. Matt says, fuck this, I'm going to hell. I'm going to fight a demon, and I'm going to get my man Foggy back. Shout out to our friend Chip Zdarsky, friend of the show.
Drag
You
his
can find our
naked
interview
butt
with
out
him
of
up on the
hell,
Agents
man.
Fandom YouTube page. The other one, he's not dead. He faked his death. It was all a ruse. And he comes back. So Jill, I'll throw this to you.
I have thoughts.
Is Foggy dead and will be resurrected? 2, is he faking his death? Or 3, is it all a flashback?
My instinct has been we will see Foggy again in season 1 and in season 2 in flashbacks. Possibly all the way back to like college flashbacks, which I know a lot of people have been wanting for a really, really long time. We have that one episode in season 1, and that's it. Oh no, and the one scene with Elektra, meeting Elektra. That's it. So I feel like it's a like be careful what you wish for kind of situation. Like I don't know, that just feels like what Daredevil always ends up being. However, I want to hope, but also then doesn't it take away from the whole heartbeat stopping moment, which is one of the most gutting things I've seen in a really long time. And like for context, I watched the entirety of The Boys like 2 months ago. So that's recent. And this is one of the most gutting things I've seen in a really long time.
Yeah, that was rough.
But I want to hope. But like, I've also watched this show extensively, and I know what they do.
Hope is tough to come by in this one. It's a lot
Hope
easier.
is literally my middle name.
Yeah. Emma, do you think he is 1, dead and will be resurrected? 2, faking his death? The chat's got all kinds of theories. Pierre says witness protection. Michael says Foggy is gonna he's in the hand. He's gonna be resurrected with the hand. Ryan and Aisha are saying he's a Skrull. And so what do you think? Is
I like somehow Foggy returned.
Or is it just gonna be flashback?
Yeah, somehow. I need those somehow Foggy returned. I mean, I think the more likely scenario is that it's going to be flashbacks, but I also know that we're getting into a magical kind of portion of the MCU. So I'm kind of my like, I don't know, like want to see. I love stuff like that. I love like the magical stuff. I love the cosmic thing. So I kind of like in the back of my head want there to be this big like resurrection thing. But I kind of think it's probably going to be flashbacks because yeah, that heart stopping thing was really rough, and I think that it was pretty real. So we'll see. I I like Ryan's comment there. Yeah, I mean,
Foggy came back too hot.
it was
He's
too
got
much.
the
They couldn't
chiseled
handle.
jawline. He's got the
Like that
beard,
makes a
he's
difference
working
to
with
Matt Murdock of all people.
He's
Right.
like-
That's
Charlie Cox walked back up to set, and he went, "Wait a minute, Foggy is not supposed to be as hot as me. We got to get this guy out of here."
honestly
like,
the power.
what's the deal with this? Get this guy off my show.
I feel like I've seen too
Yeah.
much Matt Foggy content for that to be viable.
The hotness of Karen, Foggy, and Matt all on screen together was just too much. They
It
were like,
was.
you know what? We can't. We're gonna kill people. We can't do this.
And Karen
So they
saying,
had to
"Do you
cut
want
it.
to get out of here?" And
Yeah.
I do like that. Like that was like classic Karen and Matt friend banter, but at the same time, it also shows like those who didn't just do a rewatch of Daredevil, like where are Matt and Karen at right now? Where are they? Are they dating? Are they not dating? What's the deal with their relationship? Damon, you are fresh not in the middle of, near the end of your Daredevil comic reread that you've been doing. Not near
I'm
the end?
good. No,
You're done?
We're done.
He's done it already. Incredible. You've been in the midst of this big reread. You've just witnessed all of Foggy's death storylines. How do you think this is going to play out with him coming back for season 2?
Well, I'll say this. Anyone who says that the show's too grounded to bring back Resurrection, don't forget Matt was resurrected. Don't forget Elektra was resurrected. Don't forget
So
we
he
had an
stole
entire
Amulet.
show. We had an entire show about Resurrection and the Defenders and all that jazz. Like, Daredevil gets weird. Daredevil gets messed up.
Daredevil gets really weird. Daredevil
Do
had a
I-
demon possessing him for a while.
Yeah. Do I think we'll go there in season 1? No. Do I think we'll go there in season 2? I doubt it. So I think it's more flashbacks, but I wouldn't be surprised if they resurrect him. I wouldn't be surprised. Also, fun fact, when everyone's like, how dare they kill Foggy off screen? When Foggy actually died in the Zdarsky run, it was revealed he was dead and died off screen, and his ghost kind of like Thanos'd away. He's like, I'm in hell, goodbye.
But I feel like that's different
So-
because you're still learning actively and it's part of the
true.
story and it's something that like is used as a plot device. It very much did not sound like that was the plan.
Interesting implications of what this is going to mean for Foggy Nelson in the future, with Brad Winderbaum confirming he'll be back for season 2. Even if it is just flashbacks, it's the right decision. I think Eldon Henson is as core of a member of this series as anybody else not named Charlie Cox, and so absolutely integral to have him there. And not just because of how Eldon Henson has forged the role of Foggy, but also just because of what Foggy means to Matt, right? Like, Damon, I believe this was you just sharing a piece from your rewatch of there's when our shout out to our friend Layla, whose mom always just thought that Matt Murdock was going to regain his sight at some point, but he was faking it. He was just faking it. Though he was going to pull the glasses off and it was all going to be a ruse. He brought up how there was one time that Matt had his eyesight restored very, very temporarily. And what did he want to do with it, Damon? What did he want to do with that time?
He went to go see his friend's Foggy's face for the first and only time.
It's good. Brings a tear to the eye. It's so sweet. But sadly, our boy Foggy, at least for the time being, appears to be very, very dead. And I believe, apologies if I'm misattributing this, but I believe it was our friend Liam Crowley from Screen Rant who got from Charlie Cox in his interview that this was actually Charlie's note for the series of he thought that Matt should be finding out about this death, like, because as he's fighting Bullseye, he can hear it. He can hear it happening, and you just, as the heart stops, you can feel the heartbreak in Matt happening, and it's just this absolutely incredible performance. We get the fight between Matt and Bullseye, and Damon, you've predicted something happening with Matt Murdock for months, and you were kind of right.
man, I was fully convinced. And I know we're going more Charles Soule with this show, but I was fully convinced we'll do a little Zdarsky, and he would go too far and kill a man, which he did. But it's Bullseye, so you know.
He tried, but that man has a spine that has been mechanically put back together, and you can't quite get rid of him quite that easy. Gillian, what did you think of the Daredevil versus Bullseye fight? We get the classic hallway aspect of it all.
I was about to talk about that. Hallway fight in the first 10 minutes was exactly what I needed to know that the hype was real. Because, like, that is, I'd argue, the quintessential thing that changed in MCU cinematography from Daredevil. That was a huge thing, and it happened over and over and over again. Okay, another thing I was about to say is, was I the only one that laughed when he pushed Bullseye off the roof?
Oh, I definitely laughed.
I was like,
I only knew that he did not kill anyone because I there's a really, really long message in TheDirect Slack that I sent at one point, basically just outlining, no, Matt Murdock did not kill anybody. And the line is that somebody he loves dies. And I was right. Because Matt would treat someone he loves dying the exact same way as if he killed somebody. Because he would be like, he has the responsibility complex only rivaled by Spider-Man, of not saving someone equals killing someone. So I knew that I just knew instinctively that he was going to be fine. So when he pushed him off the roof, I just cracked up. I thought it was, and maybe it was just the because I was actively crying too. So maybe it was just the like sheer adrenaline of it all. But that, I think I laughed because it was such an accurate reaction. The whole thing was the slow breakdown, the demanding answers first. That's deeply Matt Murdock. The first thing he did was ask why, and he never found out. And I think that's going to come back. The whole thing was so quintessentially Matt Murdock, and that piece was the cherry on top, and that I knew that Bullseye was gonna be fine. Unpopular opinion, I don't like Bullseye very much. Like I don't find the character as compelling as I know a lot of other people do. I think I'm nothing against what's it Benthal plays him?
Bethel
something
like that. Yeah.
Nothing against him. He does a great job. I don't find the character the most compelling ever. So it's kind of funny for that reason too.
I was like,
I think it was truly just as powerful as if he would have actually died, because that was the intent. The push was just such a clear fuck this guy. I don't care anymore. You just killed my best friend. It was like the Tony Stark talking to Cap in Civil War where it's, I don't care. He killed my mom. And it was just that moment of my morals, everything, my code, my faith, it's gone because you just killed my best friend and nothing matters anymore.
But it's also clear that it's only gone for 5 seconds. He doesn't want to do it. And then after the fact, he doesn't like that he did it.
Yeah.
But for those 5 seconds, he lives up to his name. He is a daredevil. He takes the jump without thinking about it.
And I love this comment from Nate in chat. Do you think Karen looked back afterwards because she was worried it was Matt, or because she was worried Matt killed someone?
Why would you do this to me?
It's both.
I think,
right? I think her first instinct was, oh my God, please don't be Matt. Please don't be Matt. And then when she saw it was Bullseye, she fully realized the implications immediately of what had just happened, of Matt had crossed the line that he had never wanted to cross. And so even though Matt is alive, he's there, the Matt she knows may not be coming back. And so I think that's obviously she's much happier that he's alive, but an almost equally terrifying thought. Emma, what was your thought process of, the shove off the building, Karen's reactions, and the fight as a whole?
Yeah, I immediately thought Karen thought that he killed. Like that was my first thought. Like, oh my god, he killed somebody. Like that. That's what I saw. But the fight was awesome, and you could just there was just so much happening with like him hearing Foggy die, and then like in the fight and his just shift of like literally like F this guy, I'm kicking him off the roof. Like you could just see the pure raw emotion, and it was so good. I mean, it was heartbreaking, but it was so good. And it was really cool to just immediately seeing him back in a fight like that was just okay, like we're back, we're in this. I just thought it was wild, and the Karen aspect of it was very, yeah, that was heart-wrenching. But my first immediate thought was like, yeah, I think she's worried that he killed somebody.
It shockingly goes to the credits, and we get the opening intro after all of this craziness has gone down. And when it comes back a year later, I hate when they do that shit to me. I hate when they do that to me. What do you mean a year later? I want to see every minute of these characters' lives. Endgame 5 years later? Are you kidding me? I hate when they do that to me. I don't necessarily think it's bad storytelling. I just hate when they do it to me personally.
I agree.
But when we pick them back up, Damon, Karen and Matt, they are not they're not on speaking terms. They haven't talked to each other. There's clear awkwardness between the two of them. Matt wants to talk about it. Karen does not want to talk about it. Why? Because Karen wanted to talk about it and Matt disappeared, as Matt does. Right? As Matt does. And so I think not only is the where that picks up in their relationship interesting. One, I kind of hate it because that means I don't think we're going to see much more Karen this season. But on the other hand, Karen's in San Francisco. Karen's on the West Coast. If we start building up some West Coast Avengers, some characters on that side of the country, that starts giving me the thoughts that Karen Page could start showing up in other MCU projects.
Sure.
How dare you?
Sure. I mean, look, honestly, the whole San Francisco thing was more just a nod for the fact that
maybe she
at
sees
one
Venom.
point- No, I was just gonna say it's more of a nod, just that like at one point it was during like Mark Waid's run, Daredevil was out in San Francisco. That's essentially the nod why they put her in San Francisco there, other than to be like she's really far away. That is just more of a nod for that, and also where Matt kind of goes and has his little fling with Miss Kirsten McDuffie. So there you go. There's the double nod.
Do we think we're gonna get a Matt and Kirsten fling here in the future, or are they going to remain strictly professional here at Murdock and McDuffie?
Man, Matt's
I doubt
asleep.
it.
I don't know.
Matt's a whore.
Yeah. I don't think they're going to remain professional.
I will never ever forget exactly where I was when I read the Zdarsky tweet. You know exactly what I'm talking about.
That tweet.
The one
That tweet is
Matt Murdock would never cry during sex. Because during sex, he has a job to do.
Yes.
After sex. Absolutely.
Just the, like, if you could just describe Matt Murdock in one tweet, that is literally, that is the tweet. Yeah.
Yeah, I absolutely think they're going to be getting together in the future. But the most, we all knew it was coming, but the most earth-shattering thing for this series later in the first episode after the time jump isn't that Matt's got a new firm and he's working with Kirsten McDuffie, a former love interest from comics, things like that. It's that Wilson Fisk is running for mayor. And not only is he running for mayor, but straight up in the first episode, he gets elected the mayor of New York City, which in a time like right now, where y'all's political system is falling apart with Mr. Orange convict president, it feels really on the nose, especially considering friggin' New York City also has an incredibly
I have a
corrupt
lot
mayor.
to say about this.
Now, I do think Wilson Fisk is a hell of a lot smarter and more devious than those two people, because I think those two people are probably just kind of idiots who have a lot of devious people behind them. But that's another conversation for another day. I think Wilson Fisk might even be is a very, when it was written, maybe felt unrealistic, superfluous, exaggerated.
It was when this was written. Do you know when that
Was it
run
right when the
written?
first
I
Trump?
have
It was
answers for this.
2017,
I have
dude.
answers for this
Mm,
because
like
of the
2017,
interview
yeah,
that I
like-
sat in on
that makes sense.
for my internship because the piece released. So they said that it was completely unintentional and all written before a lot of stuff happened. Like even down to some of the New York stuff specifically. Or like it was wild to see that happen in the time between us filming and releasing. Because we knew what we filmed.
That's wild.
And I will also say, because people in the comments are saying it and they're correct, being in New York and watching this show and watching that part of this show, especially like literally to yesterday, 2 days today, time is weird. We had Cuomo announce his run for mayor. And like the whole mayor thing is now becoming a thing. Like the race for mayor is becoming a thing, let alone the stuff going on with Eric Adams. I don't know. It's watching. I feel like as like prissy New Yorker as this is for me to say, I feel like I would have watched this show extremely differently, not living in New York right now.
I think that makes a lot of sense. I considered the, USA of it all, but not so much the living in New York aspects. That's a really interesting perspective. I'm happy that you brought that up. Emma, what do you think about the reunion between Vincent D'Onofrio's Wilson Fisk, Kingpin, and Matt Murdock? They talked in interviews about how they kind of wanted to play it at the beginning a little bit like old friends meeting after a long period of time, and you can just see this combination of familiarity and you only typically see that much tension that you could just straight cut with a knife when it's like sexual tension, when it's that obvious of people are like, we're not going to bring it up, but we all know it's here. It's usually not this kind of tension, but it was like two people who know each other very well and you could cut it with a knife.
Oh yeah. It was like I think they did that perfectly, because at first it was very much like, ha ha ha, like we tried to kill each other, like we have a ton of history here, and it was almost like nostalgic for people watching it, like, oh, the show and stuff. It was very, I was laughing during some of it because it was just kind of funny to me. But I think they did it beautifully, kind of building up the like resentment is coming forward, and like, just the subtle reminders of like, hey, like, if you step out of line, like I have no qualms with going after you. I also thought it was really funny when Matt was watching the TV and seeing that he was running for mayor.
He wasn't watching
and
anything.
I
do it every time. I do it out loud during the show.
I know, we did it too. We were watching and he like, someone would be like, can you see that?
Gillian, are you an Avatar The Last Airbender fan? Are you an Avatar The Last Airbender fan?
Uncharacteristically, I haven't seen it.
Damon, did you get the same thought process?
I know what you're talking about because I've seen comparisons.
As soon as Gillian said that, I just hear Katara in my head. Stars sure are beautiful tonight, Toph. Too bad you can't see them.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But
sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, it's okay. It was so funny though, because when he was like listening to Fisk running for, but he was just like, you could just tell he was like, I literally don't need this right now. Like, this is the last thing I need at this very moment. Like, just that I felt that with just being an American at the moment, of just like one thing after the other in the news. I'm like, I can't do any more of this. And you could just feel that Matt was like, I don't want to deal with this right now. But it's going to be so interesting, because I like how they're kind of reintroducing the subtle, like, yeah, Fisk is like a different person sort of, but you're still seeing the old Fisk coming back. I'm like, there's no way he's I mean, we all know he's not changed. He's obviously going to be a villain, but very interesting how they're kind of reintroducing that with the subtle, like the bloody knuckles and just kind of escalating it towards the end of episode 2. So very, very intrigued how this is going to go.
Ryan nailed it in chat. The Fisk Murdock diner scene started off as two exes reconnecting.
Sorry,
after a really long time.
it's too
100%.
not. I get it, but also no. There's some lines I won't cross as a fan, and that's one of them.
MTF bringing up like the cinematography on when Matt was walking the streets on election night after Fisk got elected was just chef's kiss. It was absolutely perfect. It looked so damn good. We got some people bringing it up in chat, and I do think it's a really great point, Damon. You've rewatched Hawkeye 1,206 times, so maybe you caught a quick line in passing. Is there any mention at all as to why Wilson Fisk is not in prison, as to how he got out? Are we just meant to kind of assume the blip happened and so he got out because the whole world just like fucking exploded for 5 years?
He got out.
I think that's like essentially what it comes down to, right? I don't think we're going to get much more of that.
I don't think we'll get anything much because other than like, obviously Vanessa went off. She sent her in a helicopter to never see her again, apparently. And then he got arrested, somehow got out, tried to rework his crime thing again from the bottom, work his way up. No, I don't think they need to explain it. People get out of prison.
I agree. We see enough of what he was up to through Hawkeye, through Echo, that I don't necessarily... I would always appreciate a line of like, if it weren't for the blip, I wouldn't even be out of here. Something like that, just to give us a little bit of context, but definitely not needed. MTF in chat saying he got the pardon that was meant for Sharon Carter. Brandon says he does need it. He did. Screw what we're saying. He needs that. He needs that piece of information, and I respect it because it is tough to know. Damon, I didn't even realize this when the first time I was watching. You brought it up to me, and you were like, "Dude, you're an idiot." I did not realize that was potentially the man making the mural of the Wilson Fisks at the end of the episode after he has been elected. You think that it was that was Muse?
Yes,
I thought so too.
And I'm just an idiot because I didn't realize it the first time. The second time I was like, "Oh, that makes a lot of sense."
You've been seeing weird murals all around, and then Matt turns it off. I assumed because he's clearly not seeing weird murals all around.
Honest to God,
I will never not make these jokes.
When they cut to Vanessa with like the 5 families and her doing her thing, and it had like the really creepy paintings, I was like, "Ooh, Muse, what did you do here?" And I thought it was one of his as well, but very clearly not.
And I did like that scene with her. We got the tracksuit nods. Tracksuit guys are still in motion and getting things ready to go. But I thought that was a really good first episode. And all things considered, I feel like the first episode didn't quite feel normal Daredevil. It kind of felt like a special presentation that was meant to be on the big screen to me, of like we're back, especially with that first 15 to 20 minutes of like here's everything you missed. Here's our characters interacting with each other. We're back, everybody. And then episode 2, which we're about to get to, felt like a full-on continuation of Daredevil. That felt like a classic Daredevil episode. The premiere, like the first one to me, felt a bit like here's the characters you love. We got the right vibe, but it's a bit of a presentation. Here's what everybody's up to. Ooh, look at Matt in the suit. Oh no, Foggy's dead. Flash forward a year later. Like it very much just felt like the setup for the story. Whereas episode 2 felt like, okay, we are fully back in gear. Before we transition to the second episode, this is going to be a long show today, ladies and gentlemen, and people, because we are 45 minutes in and we're only through episode 1. But Gillian, I'll go to you first.
Can I say one more thing about episode 1? Really quick before we move on, can I say one more thing about episode 1?
Yeah, final thoughts on episode 1. You first.
Just a little thing that I thought was fantastic was the first time I think we see Matt legitimately, truly, 100% consider and at that point know, oh, he's going to put the suit on again, is exactly when Fisk says he's no longer allowed to. And like, it's played as a joke, but I really like the line. I think it's season 1 of Daredevil of maybe I'm just being a contrary son of a bitch, because that's who he is. Like in a, I don't mean that in a negative way. I mean that in a really good way. He's constantly questioning everything. He's constantly going against what everyone wants from him. That's who he is. And I thought it was a nice little touch that you see it in exactly everything he says, everything, like you see the exact moment, and it's exactly when Fisk says he's not allowed to anymore.
Matt's used to, after this stretch, like Matt's been used to having the upper hand with him. Matt's been used to going like, I won. Now you have to do what I say, essentially. You gotta stay within the confines of what I am allowing you to do. And for the first time since early in season 3, Fisk has that upper hand over Matt again, because he knows his secret and he's about to have more power in multiple different ways to get him off of the streets. Emma, any final thoughts on episode 1 of Daredevil Born Again?
So they're kind of blending together for me because I just watched like a full hour, like almost 2 hours of Daredevil. So I'm trying to remember where exactly it ended. But I loved the episode. I thought it was a really great introduction. It definitely, I agree with you, TJ. Like, it was definitely more of like, all right, let's get these characters back. Let's kind of reintroduce people, build up the nostalgia a little bit. And then episode 2 really felt like a true, like, we're back to Daredevil. But I loved it. I just love seeing them back on my screen again. I have no complaints.
Damon, final thoughts?
Solid first episode. It was a spectacle. I think that's the best way to put it. They definitely upped the ante a little bit. You know, it was almost a full hour, which is crazy for a Disney Plus show. Can't wait to talk about episode 2.
Let's dive right into it. And episode 2 heavily features the new love interest, which we know this from various clips and things that have been shared, that Heather Glenn, who is a therapist, Matt gets set up with her. She's Kirsten's friend as well. She does a little blind date that neither of them expect. And if you do want to know more about her character, her comic origins, you can find our wonderful Ryan Cortero's article up over at Collider, where he does a full breakdown of who Heather Glenn in Daredevil Born Again is. But Damon, they get some fun little chemistry between the two of them, but more so I kind of want to talk about, what do you think of the new additions to this series as what looks like they're going to be the consistent supporting cast of Kirsten Mcduffie and Heather Glenn? What do you think about these additions for Born Again?
Solid additions. It makes sense to have a new love interest for Matt. It's pretty standard. Whenever you read any Daredevil comic, any new run, he's going to have some new lady that he's going to screw it up with by the end of it. We all know it's what he does.
Always there with him.
Foggy's always there for, well, no, most of the time Foggy's always there for him, or he's mad at him. They're always mad at each other a lot in the comics. It's on and off again with those two. It's kind of funny. But yeah, he won't have that this time. So unfortunate for him. But no, I like these two. Solid. Kirsten McDuffie, I think, is a fun inclusion, at least from a name perspective. And
I really like this actor too. I thought she was wonderful.
Yeah,
I saw her 3 times in stuffs over the last year. Nice. She's great. I love her.
Nice.
And Heather Glenn, I mean, I'll be blunt, neither of them have solid, happy endings. So we'll see what happens to them.
Yeah.
And we'll get into more of how potentially Heather might be in some deep water, some dangerous territory going into the end of the series for multiple different reasons. Allow me to tease. Allow me to tease here as I transition. People love a good tease. We're hoping she's not going to die, but yeah, I mean, it doesn't look good. It certainly doesn't look good.
It's not looking good.
I agree. I like the additions. I did think it was hilarious when they met for the first time that like Matt's clearly still a little bit shook, like of the Foggy and life change and losing his old friends of it all, because the Riz disappears for a few seconds. Not for long, but for a few seconds. When he's like, oh, what a waste of time. So like,
It's like, excuse me.
Matt. Matt's always smoother than that with the ladies. And so we get like the 1 second of like, oh my God, what is this? I don't have time for this. And then she's like, pardon you? And just immediately calls him on his shit. And that's when he realizes like, oh, wait a minute. Gotta snap
You have
back.
to be a person.
And get my flirt on. And the two of them do have really, really great chemistry together. And like she says, he was a shitty coffee date, pretty great dinner date. And the two of their relationships,
with everything we've seen from that man.
The two of their relationship is all I need is some chemistry. And I mean, it's not hard when it's alongside Matt because Matt's got chemistry with everybody. But as we talked about, she has got some danger coming her way. Because Damon, you and I were texting during the show as we're watching, and we see this man come up to her at her book signing, and he's like, I need your help. Like, I'm a big fan, but I need your help. Like, I need a therapy appointment immediately. And so we're both texting each other, and we're like, Muse! There he is! That's him! That's gotta be Muse!
Yeah.
And it's this dude. If you've watched Wednesday, sorry, it's a blurry photo, but I just
I knew I recognized him.
Screenshot of it. He's in Wednesday. And so that's where, if you're thinking, where have I seen him before? That's where it was for me. But he's kind of this creepy motherfucker. And we can swear on this show because it's TVMA, Daredevil's TVMA. There should be no children watching this show.
It's true.
He's creepy as hell. And the first thought is obviously
Muse has emphasized enough how intense this show is. I feel like you've seen it in every interview.
Hunter Doohan. Here's my thought. Here's what I want to throw to you, Damon, a little curveball. Hunter was added to the cast of Daredevil Born Again as part of the overhaul. Late in production. He was a late addition to the series. Muse was an included part of the script since the very beginning ideas of them wanting to bring back this series. So here's my question to you. Is that Muse or is that a red herring?
No, that's Muse.
That's Emma? Muse. We're going to just... Damon's giving me nothing today. He's giving me the sure. He's giving me the sure every time I throw a theory at him. So Emma, do you think this is a red herring? Because this guy, like this actor was added late in production. Muse was there before him. Do you think they switched things up, made him Muse, or do you think it's a red herring to make us think he is?
So did they ever confirm? I actually totally missed that. Did they confirm? Did they announce like, hey, he's been cast as Muse, or did they just say he's been cast?
Added to the cast of Daredevil Born Again.
And we don't know technically who's playing.
And people from his casting have speculated that he was going to be Muse. And then multiple people debunked it after the fact because they were like, no, Muse has already been in the script and already is as an actor.
Huh.
I mean, I think this at least. Yeah. It's possible that Muse was already a thing, but you never see Muse's face in the books. Like, his face is mangled, it's disgusting. He's, like, you don't see him other than just being, like, a voice every now and then. So it's possible that with this whole rework, that they needed to give him, quote-unquote, some character, and not just be some faceless, creepy artist, in a way. So... yeah, I feel like they just kind of threw that in there to give him a little something.
Gillian, what do you think?
I'm going to be honest. The Muse of it all is something that it's probably the thing that I've given the least amount of thought to. And like I would say White Tiger too, but I had given some thought to White Tiger. I did an article about that. Muse, I didn't I've written about Muse, but the only thing that reminds me that Muse is a thing in the show is the graffiti-inspired subway ads that I see at every single subway station on my way to work, it was genius of them. So smart. But like, I haven't given enough thought to Muse, I think. I'm going to read up on stuff with that. I've been looking for a reason to read more Daredevil comics than just continuing my very slow read of the Mark Waid run that I'm reading very slowly simply because I don't ever want it to end. Like, I know exactly what happens in it, but I have put off reading it just so that it can never end. But
we got people speculating about Muse in the chat right now. MTF says the number 2 suspect is Fisk's chief of staff, but AF bringing up that that's apparently supposed to be Buck Cashman, aka Bullet from comics. And feels weird to have a British guy named Buck Cashman. That's like a very, very American name. But I honestly, when I heard his voice and I'm seeing this chief of staff man, a little British guy following Fisk around, my first thought, being a Spider-Man the Animated Series guy, was, is that Alistair Smythe? That's who I thought that was initially when I got this, just from the voice. But it wasn't. It was not. I do like his team though. Young Gandolfini does a really good job, and I thought this guy does a really good job as well.
My brother in the comments is asking about Detective Hoffman in season 1, and that is because he's seen one episode of Daredevil, and it's the season 1 finale.
That's funny.
We watched it on a plane
Buck was very
4
much
days
given
ago.
vibes. I agree with Nate in the chat. Buck very much was given some Wesley vibes, but let's rewind a little bit before we go back into Kingpin and his marital troubles and his, confirmation that he is still, in fact, the same asshole that we have always known him to be.
Was it ever in doubt?
Damon, we get a little Spidey reference in this episode. We get a Punisher reference in this episode multiple times.
I was the tattoo that's supposed to be. Okay.
We get the Fisk
cool, because they're
reference.
doing the cool cops like the Punisher, and Punisher hates the cops like the Punisher thing.
It's the same thing as real life, these motherfuckers. Cops are always like, "Oh, the Punisher, that's our guy," right?
No, like, I would
hate you.
That's his whole thing. He doesn't like you. Anyways, the big part of this episode involving these cops are the white trial tiger, and this started moving pretty quickly. We already get the arraignment. Multiple reviews and reactions of this season have said the biggest difference between Daredevil Born Again and the first 3 seasons of the Netflix show are he's in court more. He's in lawyer mode more.
I'm thrilled by this. I want more of that.
That was one of my
enough in Daredevil. It's one of my biggest critiques of the show.
My two biggest things from the original show are: 1, he's not in court enough; 2, he's not in his suit enough. He's not in his costume enough. We really only get season 2 with him in the red suit. Other than that, he's got his beanie over his eyes.
I can't watch half of season 2 because it just shatters me.
So, Damon, what did you think of the White Tiger trial? You were texting me your reactions like, "Oh, is he going to defend him in court?" And I'm sitting there like, "Yeah, it's going to happen in like 10 minutes. This isn't going to be down the line. This is going to happen in like 3 scenes." Oh, you're muted.
At the very beginning, they're talking about when they had like the news flash and stuff, like Daredevil and also like White Tiger's got this, and I was like, oh my god, are they making White Tiger like Daredevil's like apprentice? Are we gonna blindside White Tiger? This is gonna be terrible. And then that didn't happen. Instead, ladies and gentlemen, if you want a comic book to read, go read Daredevil number 28 from 2002 from Brian Michael Bendis, who is also a consulting producer on this show. And you can I got excited. You can very much tell that that arc is going to be used pretty heavily here. And it's pretty solid. Yeah, we're doing the White Tiger stuff. And that came up real quick. And the thing that I texted you immediately was, oh, we're doing the amulet stuff. This isn't just like a dude running around. We're having like magical amulet powers too.
We let Daredevil be weird.
So
which I was like, thumbs up, cool.
For those who don't know, the White Tiger, Hector Ayala, was the first Latino superhero in mainstream Marvel DC comics. Now he is coming to live action, and they are using his actual backstory. Magical amulet, family heirloom, most likely, is how he's getting his powers. And we get to see him represented, him with Matt, representing him in court. And it's just the beginnings of the trial, but you can absolutely be sure with the Wilson Fisk anti-vigilante stuff they're setting up that this is going to be the trial of the century. You already know that it's going to come out where it's like, oh, Matt's winning the trial. It's looking really, really good. And somebody leaks to the press that Hector Ayala is White Tiger, and it is now The case of the century. Is White Tiger a cop killer? It's going to be fantastic. Gillian, what did you think of Hector Ayala's introduction in this fashion, his character? And also, I believe, I'm not positive, but I think I saw a picture in his house.
Everyone in the comments is talking about this.
And I don't know if it's going to be daughter or little sister in this story, but I'm looking at that and I'm thinking, oh, that's got to be Ava Ayala, the next White Tiger.
I think the thing that I liked most about the way they used White Tiger so far is when Matt confronts him about being a vigilante, because that's just cognitive dissonance. And to have that so bluntly shown in that every single thing that he criticizes Hector for, he did in this situation. And he knows that. And that is a really, really, I think it's weirdly enough, I actually think that's for the people who are new to this show, who didn't see the original show, because by that point in episode 2, you haven't really gotten much of that, like, Matt sees Daredevil, like, no, not sees, because he doesn't see anything, but he, like Daredevil is this outlet, but also something that he separates from himself, and that, like, he uses more as an object and a tool, but, like, also is a part. It's a great way to show that he's still grappling with that and that he has not healed, which, like, expected, but
it's very Batman Bruce Wayne-esque of, like, which one is the real me and which one's the alter ego.
See, Batman Bruce Wayne, I'm very much in a both Batman and Bruce Wayne are masks. There's that middle ground. And interestingly enough, I say the same thing with Daredevil, that it's not one or the other, but it's not that both of them are masks, it's that both of them are him. It's almost like an inverse, because I think
I like that a lot.
Stick's influence in raising him, Stick objectively had as much influence in raising him as his dad, and that shows. Then Foggy's influence on him, that shows. The thing I'm very interested in is Foggy has always been the moral counterpart to Daredevil. Foggy has always been that, do you need to use Daredevil? Should you use Daredevil? Can you please not? I can't bear to see you die. And I'm very interested to see if the way Matt uses it, especially like in the last scene, we saw him use every trick in the book until he absolutely last resort need to use Daredevil.
And then as soon as he lets it out, that arm is broken.
Oh,
as soon as he lets it out, that arm is broken in half.
But, like, it was very cool, I think, because I like to believe that in that year, he very much did a, like, I'm not giving up. It's not I'm giving up Daredevil for all the reasons. No, I'm giving up Daredevil because it's the last thing Foggy told me he wanted. I didn't want to use it as an excuse. It's the last thing he said to him. Or I didn't want you to be able to find an excuse. And so I'm very interested to see if that's explored more, because I very much saw that as like, he really doesn't actually want to do this. And that is character growth. Even if he has not healed, because he clearly has not healed. And I don't think, I'm not saying that there should be a cure for mental health stuff, because that's not what I'm saying. But, like, I don't really think that his mental health has improved. But I like to see that he has still grown.
Well, it's like Pierre says in chat. It's an addiction he's still dealing with, right?
Oh yeah, I've always loved the addiction
Hector
with Daredevil.
Kind of put him into withdrawal all over again. And even though he's being hypocritical in what he's saying to Hector,
he knows it. He fully knows it.
He's also right though, right? Because like Emma, he's representing him in court. You've got a law background. He says to him like, the only way I can win is if I know all of the ways I can lose. And I really love that line. Like, that felt like a
was a
Matt
good
Murdock
line.
lawyer line.
Yeah, no, 100%. And like, that's, I mean, just going down to the lawyer aspect, like, I mean, clients are not a lot of the time going to be honest with their lawyers, but you need them to be, like, you want them to be, because you have to know every aspect of somebody to A, like, get ahead of anything that could come out, and B, just because that's going to help their defense. So it's, I also really, that kind of reminded me of what I have been enjoying so far, of like the scenes showing him like with the heartbeats. Like, I think they're doing a really good job of that, kind of like his spidey senses, like all of his the senses and everything like that. I think they're showing it in a really, really cool way. So it's like, all right, we could tell that he knows that he's lying, and it's just, yeah, it's perfect.
I'm going to add to that. Agreed, and I'm so glad they're doing that, because my other biggest criticism of the Daredevil show is World on Fire did so much damage to how people understand Matt's powers. I get what they were trying to do. They were trying to make the radar sense as it is depicted in the comics. The thing is, if people see radar sense, they assume that means he does. No. And so I'm really, really glad they leaned into like how it actually works.
I really like the way it's portrayed in the Spider-Man the Animated Series, where he essentially says, like, I can create a picture in my head of everything that I'm sensing, but I still don't see anything.
Yeah.
Like, there's nothing here in front of me. I can imagine what is in front of me because of my enhanced senses, but I can't see them themselves. Damon, don't worry. We'll get you to bed soon. I only have 3 more talking points left on episode 2, I swear. And the first one is that, Matt says throughout these first 2 episodes, like, if I didn't know better, I think he was telling the truth. Like, I think he'd changed. And that's Kingpin's whole thing here, is like, I'm going to do it the right way. He's running for mayor. He's, as the police commissioner straight up says to him, like, you're giving up your money and your power to have less money and less power. I don't buy it. And we know Vanessa.
Hearing that line from New York City right now is also great.
Vanessa has got the business booming, never been more profitable, but he's going out of his way to have no part in it, to make sure no gray area. He's in the clear. But much like Matt, who's slipping back into his Daredevil mode because he can't help it, it's the only way to achieve his goals.
And I'm also going to say, I like the comment a lot about, like, it's more than your standard addiction metaphor, because it's also that he is constantly hearing the cries of people all the time, which is 100% true. And I wouldn't say it's strictly an addiction metaphor. It's just a very easy way. The addiction piece is a very easy way to describe how he interacts with others as it relates to people who know he's Daredevil, if that makes sense.
And as Matt is slipping back into that, so is Fisk. No matter how much he's trying to be the on the right side of the track and in the limelight, gets threatened by the former police commissioner, just slides a little photo towards him and says, hey, just so you know, I'm fully aware you have an illegitimate son. And he's not only in some danger, but I'm going to tell the world about it. All by showing you this little piece of paper. We see that he is, in fact, still the Kingpin, even though he's there. What do you think about, much like Matt at the end of this episode, Damon, he falls back into the darkness. So does Wilson Fisk, falls back into the darkness. And also, what do you think is going to be his arc with BB Urich, the niece of Ben Urich, who we see making her debut in these first 2 episodes? She's a badass. Kind of seems like Fisk might want to use her. I kind of hope she finds out what happens to her uncle.
Yeah, I definitely think at some point in this series, whether it be this season or next, she'll be the one who kind of tells the truth on it all, and who knows, maybe even helps Mr. Luke Cage try to become mayor at some point, who knows. But this is going to sound so stupid. You know what the biggest standout for me is with that whole thing? The biggest disgrace, the biggest threat was that Wilson Fisk said D'Angelo's had the best Philly cheesesteak he ever
He then
had.
said he hated it.
Well, he only said that because that was his the guy's family place. That was the guy's family place. That's why he was bringing it up there.
D'Angelo's.
Can I ask a question really quick?
Yeah.
Was I the only one that fully thought Fisk wasn't trying to change one bit from the start? Am I just too like
No, he was not, but it was just like that's the image.
But I don't even like
that's what he's trying to show the public.
Okay, so we're talking about what he's trying to show the public.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I don't think there's any intent to do any good.
No, but like his intent has always been to do good, right? Do what he thinks it is. It's just
though. Like I like to believe
that it's not till season 3 that he like says like all this time I thought I was the savior, I was the protector.
No, season 1, the last episode of season 1, he does the whole monologue about the Good Samaritan and that he thought he was the Good Samaritan, but no, he's the ill intent. I watched the season 1 finale with my brother 4 days ago.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying you're wrong. I was saying I was mistaken.
Yeah, no, that because I definitely think like, yeah, I think more of like what he's trying to portray to people. Like, I don't think I think he knows deep down, or maybe like even more surface level than that. Like, I think he's always known like this is just who I am. But like, yeah, like I think like MTF is saying, just trying to go about things differently and trying to, I don't know. I just think he's just not ever going to not be Fisk. Yeah.
Yeah, he's going to be the villain at the end, but he does have his,
Yep.
I think he's back on his season 1 bullshit, right? It's a season 1 of a new series, so he's got to think he's the hero until the end where he realizes, no, I'm still this guy.
Only one who was waiting for him to say a better tomorrow.
And I like Aisha's point is he's trying to become whatever he needs to be for Vanessa.
Doesn't Vanessa want him to be more evil?
Vanessa wants him to step up and be the Kingpin again.
I think that's the biggest surprise to me of this whole series is that they're having marital troubles.
Yeah, that was interesting.
Heather Glenn is in more danger than ever, not just from this potential Muse character, but from Wilson and Vanessa Fisk, of course, going to her for therapy again. And the most shocking part about this all that I thought is like, I thought it was really well shot about how they basically had this big literal space between Fisk and Vanessa to represent all the space that's between them in their relationship right now. But Damon, the part that caught me the most off guard is this little conversation that kind of gets brushed over, and Fisk and Wilson's essentially like, so you're cheating on me, right? And she's like, yeah, I am. He's a really good guy. Please don't kill him. He's like, fine. I get it. I get why you did it. That's not the Wilson Fisk I know. That's Damon. I saw this and I was like, damn. The Wilson Fisk, you're supposed to be the Kingpin, and you can't even do anything right in your relationship.
I don't buy that for a second. He's gonna do something to that guy. There's gonna be what's the step above a car door with a head in a car door? What's the step above that?
That's always the example I use when someone asks how intense Daredevil is. Like, someone gets decapitated by a car door like in the first 5 episodes.
Yeah.
He'll do it, and then Vanessa will look at him and be like, "There you are," because she is just as much as a sociopath.
Oh yeah. 100%.
Do we think those bloody knuckles potentially came from that guy?
I think that was more just to show the history he has. It's one of those scars that'll never go away.
I love the combination of points from AF and Pierre in the chat where AF says he thinks Gallo reactivated the Kingpin persona. It was dormant, but as soon as Gallo started making threats, then Fisk responded in kind. And I love Pierre's addition to that is maybe not even the threats as much as the insults, right? Fisk takes threats and he laughs at threats. But when people go at him and start insulting him, he has his little meltdowns. He throws a temper tantrum. And that's when he goes from calculated Kingpin to just rageful, I'm going to decapitate you with a car door. And so I thought that was all of these theories I love. We don't really know, and we may not even really know at the end of this series, right? That's one of the really interesting parts about his character is the mystery within. We know how easily he gets overruled by his emotions, but the calculus and the mystery behind what he's planning is awesome. And Damon, just like Fisk shows his true colors towards the end of this episode, Matt's back. The devil is let out at the end of this episode. Like Gillian talked about, he's doing whatever he can to repress this. He doesn't want it. He's letting these out of uniform, off duty cops.
He plays
beat
the
shit out
blind
of
card.
him.
He never does that.
Yeah.
Letting them absolutely beat the shit out of him. And then, as soon as the gun comes out and his actual life is in danger, he lets the devil out. And he gives the most primal Daredevil scream at the end of it. I think that might have been my favorite scene of the whole first 2 episodes.
Emma, I don't know if you remember this, but after I saw the Comic-Con trailer, I tweeted something, and you and I had a back and forth about it, about how the trailer showed both Daredevil and Matt Murdock screaming, and that's how I knew that they were doing his character right.
Yes.
That.
I agree. Yeah. I think it was just like it was, and it's great because you, like you said, like he's like, trust me, you don't want to do this. Like, you really don't. And he's like, all right, fine. I'm just gonna have to do it. And so he just let himself go fully. Like, the devil came out, and it was absolutely beautiful. The scream, everything. That was definitely my favorite scene of the first 2 episodes. I'm like, all right, we're back. Let's do this.
I think
the bones cracking. Oh my god, just chef's kiss.
Damon, can we make it 4 for 4?
Oh, yeah, no, fantastic. Again, the standout of that outside of the action and the brutalness of it all, it is just like, oh yeah, we're back, baby, type of thing. I can't believe we're actually going to go the way of, it was kind of like, we were kind of wondering, how are we going to bring Frank Castle into this? How are we going to bring Punisher in? Is he going to be the guy that it's like when Muse gets too crazy, we need the guy that goes that crazy to deal with him?
I'm really glad it's not protecting Karen.
Yeah, it's good, but if we're actually going the way in telling a bit of a story of the Punisher hates cops and the cops love the Punisher, and if we are actually telling that story, my mind will be blown if we're actually going that way. Whether it's a tease into whatever story he's getting in a special presentation or whatever going forward, if it goes off there, fine. I mean, that is an insane story to tell, and just like, I can't believe they're already teasing it. That's wild to me. That is wild.
And my thought is, I bet you that's going to be what leads into his special presentation. And I do think what's going to bring him into this is Matt's not going to be able to beat Muse, right? Like, it's been stated that Muse is going to have his comic book powers of, basically being a black hole of sensory deprivation, and Matt can't locate him the way that he does other foes. In addition to that, he's got his super strength, etc., etc. And so that's kind of my thought process, was Matt's going to get his ass kicked, and he's going to be terrified of what this guy's doing, and he's going to need Frank's help. Was what that comes down to. And then I could absolutely see the Punisher tattoos on the cop's wrist very much being the lead into what we get in his special presentation. Marvel Studios special presentation, the Punisher.
The whole Punisher hates that cops love Punisher is the first thing I learned about Punisher, besides that he kills people.
Yeah. That's amazing, because it's also real life. Like,
yeah,
it's so on the nose to stuff that's going on. I mean, it happens in real life. So I hope that's where they go, because I think that would be absolutely amazing.
I would love that as well. I think that would be absolutely fantastic stuff. And that's like, I was talking to my wonderful partner Ava. She's like, we watched the 2 seasons of Punisher and all of Daredevil. Like, we just finished our whole Defenderverse rewatch like a week ago, and then I watched She-Hulk, then I watched Echo. But
I'm sorry.
she was saying like she wants like a Frank Castle shirt because she loves John Bernthal's performance. She loves this character, but she doesn't want to be that person walking around with like the Punisher shirt because of how many douchebags there are that are like, oh yeah, I should get guns and be able to do whatever I want with them. Punisher, yeah. You know, and so just because of how many people latch onto that symbol without knowing what it means, it's like how many people champion the song Born in the USA without actually realizing what the lyrics are. That's kind of what it reminds me of. But Daredevil, yeah, you go, Joe.
I was just gonna say the number of Punisher logos with the blue stripe and the flag thing I have seen in my life. What?
I hate it so much. God, it annoys me every time.
Fools.
I really want to add on something that says Frank Castle would hate you. Like, he genuinely would hate you. And he would kill you.
Yeah, you are the person the Punisher shoots.
Exactly.
Anyways, before we get demonetized on YouTube for talking about real life things, we're talking about the Punisher. It's comic book guys. YouTube. We're just kidding. It's jokes.
Media literacy.
As Brandon said, yes, media literacy is absolutely dead. Or if it's not dead, it is absolutely just at the bottom of the dumpster right now. Damon, we have finally covered the first 2 episodes of Daredevil Born Again. I know it is after midnight for you over there on the East Coast. So before I let you get out of here, what do we have coming up on the Comic Corner this weekend?
Oh boy. First of all, on this show, just to wrap it up, I'll say this. I love these first 2 episodes. I am so glad this show is back. I think it's fascinating considering what this show was allegedly supposed to be and how much of it seems like is still here. But it just seems like there's aspects that were added to this that made it go from okay to great. And this whole story with White Tiger and everything absolutely seems like this was the original story, but you lose a lot of the added stuff if like Foggy did die off camera. That's crazy. Right? You get to see that. We get to have that first action sequence. So, hats off to them for adding the much necessary things. And also, supposedly, the Frank Castle stuff too. So, hats off to them. This week on the Comic Corner, we have a lot of great comics out this week. The Ultimates is the standout. Marvel's Ultimate Universe is fantastic. There is an Ultimate Daredevil. Well, there's an Ultimate Matt Murdock. He's not Daredevil. But it's fine. The Ultimate Universe as a whole is absolutely fantastic. If you want some good Daredevil comics, if you are excited about the show and you really want to dig deep into some Daredevil comics, here's 3 books for you. First of all, if I do not say this, I'll get shunned. It has to be Frank Miller's Daredevil Born Again. Ironically enough, has nothing to do with the show. It's pretty much season 3.
They did it in season 3.
Yeah, it's pretty much season 3.
Also,
Next
Frank
one.
Miller is an Islamophobe.
Speaking of, I hope Mother Maggie shows up in this season.
Yeah. Maybe.
Yes!
Oh, yeah, I would like to see her.
Oh my god, yeah. Spider-Gwen, the Ghost Spider, and Matt Murdock.
Charles Soule's run heavily influences this entire show so far, very much, and then most recently, Chip Zdarsky's run is fantastic. And if you caught up on all of those, then you can go into this current run, where Matt essentially has become an exorcist.
Emma, final thoughts on the episode and the 2 episodes, and where can the people find you on socials?
Final thoughts. I absolutely loved it. I'm just so happy we're back. This is my era. I am going to be just unhinged, and I just love it. My brain can't really form any more thoughts because it is after midnight and I have to be up really early, but I just love seeing Charlie Cox back on my screen, and I'm so excited for the next several weeks. Where can they find me? Okay, my username on Twitter, I will never call it X. It is on the screen, _MNMEMMINEM. I'm on Instagram. You'll find me. If you go to my Twitter, you'll just eventually find me. Yeah, that's pretty much all I can muster at this point.
Gillian, where can the people find you on socials? Where can they find your content?
Yeah.
And final thoughts on the episode.
Follow me on Twitter, Gillian Blum, Gillian with a G. Blum is BLUM, rhymes with plum and spells like plum, just with a B instead. People mispronounce or misspell my name constantly, so I've gotten used to all the things.
Are you related to famous voice actor Steve Blum?
No.
No.
But my dad is named Steve.
Well, that's cool.
Yes.
Are you sure your dad is not?
I'm 100% sure.
And Zeb? Are you sure your dad is not Gareth Zebarelios?
100% sure. But yeah, I mean, on Twitter, I'm definitely most active there. I'm on Blue Sky. I think same username. It might be the same as my Instagram, which is Gillian.Blum. And read my articles on TheDirect.com. I have some stuff from a while back. I talk about White Tiger. I have a really long article where I explain White Tiger. I have something that I wrote a while ago. I don't think it's been published yet, but if it hasn't, get excited for it. I run down every single person who canonically knows Daredevil's secret identity and how they find out.
I like that.
So that's fun. It's long.
Very useful if they make Daredevil No Way Home.
All the
Daredevil
people who will
and
now
the Purple
forget
Children,
Jesus.
Part 12.
It worked once, and we leave it.
Colin Farrell's Bullseye seeping into our universe.
God.
We already got
Are you
the
trying to
return
get
of
me to-
Elektra.
Good lord, are you trying to get
that's
me to
good
close this
enough.
out?
My socials are on the screen, but truly, I don't really care if you follow me, but I do care that you follow the Agents of Fandom at Agents Fandom on TikTok and Twitter, Agents of Fandom everywhere else. Make sure you subscribe to the Agents of Fandom wherever you get your podcast. Smash the like button on the YouTube video. Shout out to everyone who is joining us live and after the fact. The chat has been wonderful today. We appreciate you all staying up late with us to hang out. Makes the shows so much more fun. We appreciate you. Smash that like button, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on any of our great content, because hold on, don't leave yet. I got to tell you about all the great stuff we have coming up. In addition to the interview section of our YouTube page right now, where you can find my interview with Daredevil Born Again showrunner and executive producer Dario Scardapan and Sana Amanat. You can also find my interviews with Brave New World director Julius Ona, Invincible creator and showrunner Robert Kirkman, and Simon Rasiopa. And coming here in the short term, you like that new Daredevil theme? Well, we got the composers, the guys scoring Daredevil Born Again, the Newton brothers, joining us here in the near future as well. It's a big time for composers. We have an interview dropping with our own Sean Mott, Metalcore Nerds' newest agent. He's got an interview dropping with the composers for Cobra Kai and Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man here on the channel over the next couple of days. On Tuesdays, we're going to be talking Daredevil. On Thursdays, we talk Invincible. On Fridays, we talk Severance. And on Saturdays, we have the Comic Corner. So make sure you follow the channel. And wherever you Agents Fandom, wherever you get your pods. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us today. On behalf of myself, Damon, Gillian, and Emma, we will see you next time. Thanks so much, everyone. Peace.